Mastering disease. Everything seemed fine one moment. And then, without warning, people began to rot before your eyes, stricken by a rampant pestilence. In that instant, the veneer of civilization vanished, replaced by unimaginable suffering and agonizing death. Are we merely a laboratory in some cosmic experiment? And what if the source of our greatest human suffering isn't human at all? It would be short-sighted to assume that viruses, so prevalent in our world, could not exist on other planets across the universe. Is there someone, somewhere, with the technology to send such pathogens to Earth, as part of a hidden intergalactic warfare, instead of the dramatic invasions we see in movies? Why go to all that trouble, when all it might take is releasing a toxin into the air? Millions around the globe believe we have been visited in the past by extraterrestrial beings. What if this is true? Did ancient aliens truly help shape our history? And could they even be the source of our most lethal epidemics? Portugal, October 13th, 1917. On what had been a bright, cloudless day, the sky suddenly darkened, becoming grim and threatening. For those present, the world was about to turn upside down. 3 children had claimed to see what they believed was the Virgin Mary, who promised them a divine sign. As many as 100,000 onlookers saw the sun appear to transform into an opaque, spinning disk in the sky. During these manifestations, the children were warned that God was extremely displeased with humanity and that punishment would come. The events near the small village of Fatima were deemed miracles by some, hoaxes by others. Yet ancient astronaut theorists consider them possible extraterrestrial encounters. In Fatima, mysterious phenomena occurred, but were these religious in nature, or was this an extraterrestrial, UFO-like event? The apparition never explicitly identified herself, and it was through the lens of religion that she was named the Virgin Mary. But if not Mary, then who? Even more astounding is what followed less than a year later. Approximately 50 million people died in the worst pandemic ever recorded, the Spanish influenza. Could this deadly outbreak be linked to the strange incidents at Fatima? It's not unthinkable. Many of history's plagues may have occurred because alien visitors brought unknown microbes and diseases to our world. Disease has claimed more lives than all the wars in human history combined. From the start, we looked to the heavens for answers. In antiquity, pestilence was a terrifying mystery. People tried to explain it in the simplest terms. Illness seemed like a deadly rain shower sent from the sky, perhaps delivered by an angry god. In ancient myths, plagues often represented divine wrath. Egypt had Set, the god of disease. The Hittites worshipped Era, their plague god, a name evoking fire and the burning fever that swept through their lands like wildfire. Physical ailments were frequently attributed to supernatural intervention. The ancient Chinese also connected plagues to supernatural forces and carefully recorded instances where disease outbreaks coincided with celestial events. Unusual comets, what we might call UFOs today, were linked with epidemics. This pattern wasn't isolated. It appeared worldwide. Many different ancient cultures believed that diseases were caused by events in the sky. Greece, 430 BC. Athens was at war with Sparta. While the battlefields were brutal, the plague that descended upon the Athenians was far worse. Victims suffered unquenchable thirst, red skin, relentless vomiting, horrific diarrhea, and blackened fingers. They rotted where they stood. Mass graves overflowed, and bodies were left decomposing in the streets. Was this Athenian plague a mere biological consequence of war, or something else? Something not of this earth. Civilization fell apart as soon as the plague hit. In ancient Greek eyes, it may have been a divine curse. But could the wrath of God have actually been the wrath of extraterrestrials, seeking to control, manipulate, or even harm us? In the mid-6th century, another virus nearly ended humanity, the Justinian plague. Records show that millions died, an enormous proportion of the world's population. Again, people described strange objects in the sky, gleaming golden shields, sightings of bronze ships in daylight, and headless creatures. Each time such phenomena were observed, people fell ill, then more sightings, followed by more disease. Modern astronomers note that during the Justinian plague, Earth experienced unusually high cosmic activity. Islamic records describe darkened skies and terrifying meteor showers. Tree ring data suggests a reduction in sunlight consistent with cometary dust blocking the sun. Might these dust particles also have carried viruses and bacteria? If so, could an intelligent force be sending harmful agents here? To an advanced civilization waging intergalactic warfare, releasing a pathogen might be more effective and less conspicuous than a military invasion. History is replete with examples linking deadly plagues to sightings in the sky. Today, many dismiss these as ancient superstitions. 3,000 years ago, they were accepted as fact. A 19th century discovery in Egypt might support this view. Excavations in Nakata in 1897 unearthed a 6,000-year-old statue nicknamed McGregor Man, depicting what appears to be a bearded figure. On closer inspection, the beard might be a hood, and the figure might be wearing a form of full-body suit, something akin to a hazmat suit. Nakata was associated with Seth, the Egyptian god of plague. Could these ancient images show extraterrestrial beings shielding themselves from dangerous earthly pathogens, or vice versa? Similar depictions appear worldwide, figures wearing hoods or helmets, with tubes reminiscent of breathing apparatus. Central American carvings also feature helmeted beings with what appear to be tanks on their shoulders. These ancient images mirror accounts from the 14th century, during the Black Plague in Europe. Oozing black boils, filled with blood and pus, ravaged the population, decimating a third of Europe within 5 years. Again, sightings of strange aerial phenomena, bronze ships spreading mist, were reported. Soon after, people became desperately ill. Were these hallucinations? Can thousands share the same vision? Some reports described cloaked figures spraying mist onto crops. These stories gave birth to the legend of the Grim Reaper. Could these hooded beings have been something else? Extraterrestrials introducing lethal pathogens into our environment? Throughout history, deadly plagues often struck alongside inexplicable celestial events. Could extraterrestrial forces have chosen disease as their weapon, efficiently minimizing humans without revealing themselves? The Spanish influenza that followed the Fatima events appeared suddenly, killing tens of millions, then vanished just as quickly in 1919. Scientists are still baffled by how it erupted simultaneously worldwide. Could this be linked to unusual celestial phenomena? In modern times, possible connections persist. In September 2007, residents of Caracas, Peru, watched a giant fireball crash to Earth. Days later, hundreds of locals fell ill with unexplained symptoms. Meteorites, theoretically sterile, rarely cause sickness. Yet was this proof that microbes exist elsewhere in the cosmos? Comets, once regarded with universal fear, were believed to bring pestilence and death. Today's science suggests life's building blocks, such as amino acids, do ride aboard comets and meteorites. Could these celestial bodies deliver alien viruses and bacteria that trigger our worst epidemics? Nobel laureate Harold Urey hypothesized in the 1960s that meteorites contain fossilized space bacteria. His ideas were dismissed. In 1996, NASA scientists found what they believed were fossilized Martian microbes in a meteorite. In 2011, NASA scientist Richard Hoover identified what appeared to be microfossils in meteorites, sparking intense debate. If alien bacteria exist, might they be deliberately sent to Earth? Perhaps extraterrestrials use a biological delivery system. Instead of lasers or bombs, they rely on microscopic agents that evolve rapidly and stealthily. Consider how European explorers unleashed diseases like smallpox on the indigenous peoples of the Americas and Pacific Islands, decimating entire civilizations, often unintentionally. If aliens had visited Earth, might they have accidentally or deliberately introduced alien microbes to test our resilience, alter our genetics, or control our numbers? Evidence suggests life can survive the harsh vacuum of space, evolving and mutating. Experiments on the International Space Station showed that certain bacteria became deadlier in zero gravity, thriving as if adapted to cosmic conditions. Could extraterrestrial viruses survive interstellar journeys and pose a dire threat to humanity? If microorganisms have been arriving from space for millennia, they might explain ancient epidemics and modern mysteries alike. More recently, conditions like Morgellons disease, where patients find bizarre fibers beneath their skin, defy explanation. Could unknown, possibly extraterrestrial organisms be at play? We must consider that these life forms could influence not just our health, but our evolution, and even our psyche. The universe teems with microbes. We stand atop trillions of viruses, many unknown and potentially lethal. Might we be mere subjects in a cosmic experiment, strengthened through deadly trials, or prepared for a future threat? For thousands of years, humans have asked if we are alone. But perhaps alien life has been with us all along, in the form of pathogens carried by comets, meteorites, and cosmic dust. Is this just a coincidence? Or could an intelligent force be orchestrating it all? In the end, the real fear lies in the unknown. How much time remains on the cosmic clock before the next outbreak, the next interstellar virus? The more we learn, the more unsettling the questions become. Are we simply pawns in a vast unseen battle, tested and challenged by life forms beyond our imagination? Only time and further discovery may tell.